fly in the sky. I can go twice as high.
Who can remember their parents reading to them? Or reading to their children? Circle time in school? Quiet reading time in class? Or can you remember your first adventures? What if you moved around a lot, or you were a shy person? Who were your constant friends? Who did you go to for comfort or guidance? From the dawn of time, the human race have sought to understand the world around them. The need for such knowledge has driven us to understand the gods to science, and has caused our world to grow into the universe. And from understanding our place in the world to understanding our place in the universe. My grandfather, Stephen Austin House, always said, the only thing that can't be taken away from you is the knowledge you gain from every book, be it a textbook or a novel, it is a lesson or a portal to another place, be it a new place or a place you've gone to regularly, a real place or a fictional place. Every story, your story, a story that was written by somebody else or one that you made up. There is always something to learn and some truth to gain. With the digital age, we have gained a portal to an information overload. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Such things as a here that as long as I have Wi-Fi, I can get on the internet. I can write a response to a friend on a social media. I can pull up an ebook. And while I'm waiting in a doctor's office, that's fine. But when I'm at home, I personally like to have a book. I like to read a book. For tabletop, I prefer the hardbound D&D books or White Wolf books. They're easier to access the information, to get to the pages I want, instead of scrolling to the PDF formats. They also feel more comforting because they're an old friend. On top of that, if something was to happen and the power goes out and I can't charge my devices, my books will be there. And there is nothing like the smell of a new or old book. You walk into a bookstore and it just smells good. 1954, Gutenberg is cited with inventing the printing press and printing the Turkish calendar and a 42-lined Bible. He printed some 180 copies, but he didn't invent the printing press. In 148, the Chinese had the first movable printing press, but they discarded this method in favor of wood print blocks and hand-styled writing on scrolls. The timeline spans almost 1,000 years for the published work, starting in 1040 until now. With the expanse of the publishing industry, we have grown as a culture. The UNESCO, the United Nations Education, Science, and Culture Organization, declared in 2008 that literacy is a fundamental right and a springboard not only for achieving education for all, but also for eradicating poverty and broadening participation in society. I designed a bumper sticker that I drive around with on my own vehicle that says "Help Cure Ignorance." Pick up a book. Take Bolivian women, for example. After attending seminars on literacy and education, they were far more likely to go to doctors. In 1950, 50% of the world population, 15 years and over, were literate. By 2008, 83% of the world population was literate. Well, it may cost anywhere from $15 to $50 to get a hardbound book, or $6 to $10 to get a paperbound book, depending on the publisher and the author. You have that book where you have the constant upkeep of a digital book or of an ebook, right? And you have a Kindle, right? You've had since 2007, when the first Kindle came out, you've had the Kindle. Then you now have the Kindle Fire HD, I think. And it costs, almost $300 for the Kindle Fire. And then you're looking anywhere from $1.99, free, to $7, $8. So each time you have a new ebook come out, you have, I've got to have that newest technology, compared to a hardbound book of the latest addition to an author's work. And you can see things that have looked at the future have always had books in them in some form or another. Take Star Trek, for example. A book may be a luxury, but Captain Picard always had a collection of Shakespeare or Hemingway or some other classic author. Data was often found reading to better understand humans. And I don't believe we will ever lose a connection with books, simply because they are reassuring and comforting, and humans in the most stressful times will look for something to comfort them, to keep them grounded. And for as much as a Kindle, a Nook, a smartphone, or a tablet may be convenient, I will always be loyal to the one thing that inspired me to read. And that was a book.
Take a look, it's in a book, a reading